I would think as a fan base that would be unacceptable. You want to have an organization and a team that is sustainable over time, and every single year you have an opportunity to compete for championships. That was the mindset I've had as a player. It's the mindset that I have as an owner. But in order to do that, if people want change, we're going to have to make some unpopular decisions, which I said from my opening press conferences. We're going to have to make some unpopular decisions, but just understand that every decision we make is for the betterment of this organization. And, you know, I know people are upset. Listen, I played with an organization that had a great deal of success over 20 years, and the fan base was upset when players were moved. So I understand that. But I would much rather have a passionate fan base than a fan base that didn't care.
So let's talk about your career for a second. And when you read about his career, I mean, talk about longevity. And all the awards you won and accolades that you won, did you always know that, number one, when you were a kid, you were going to be a baseball player? And number two, did you always have it in your mind that you wanted to own a franchise someday?
When I was younger, my first role model in my house was my dad, and he played shortstop at Fisk University in Tennessee. And to this day, he says he was much better than I was, but there's more teams nowadays, so he didn't get that opportunity. But I always wanted to be just like my dad. And you know, one thing that I'll give my parents a lot of credit for is they never discouraged me. You know, I grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, small town, and you know, I would tell everyone I was going to be the shortstop of the New York Yankees over and over and over. And you know, a lot of times you'd hear adults saying to my parents, you need to put real thoughts in your kid's head because he's running around, he's not going to be a doctor, he's not going to be a lawyer, he's going to be shortstop for the New York Yankees. And my parents were always very positive and said, listen, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish as long as you work hard at it and you don't make any excuses. So they were always very supportive. They never pushed me in that direction, but they were very, very supportive of me. And my parents are probably the most optimistic and positive people I've ever met. And you know, I was not allowed to use the word can't when I was growing up. My mom would cut me off and say, what'd you say, what'd you say? So it's the power of positive thinking. But I've always wanted to be the shortstop for the New York Yankees. Very fortunate because it's like a crapshoot when you get to the draft. So I was, you know, had an opportunity to live a dream. But towards the end of my career is when I started setting my sights on ownership. And I learned a great deal throughout my career. You know, from previous owner before he passed away, Mr. George Steinbrenner, I had a great relationship with. I've lived in Tampa, Florida for the last 20 plus years, so I worked out at our minor league facility and learned as much as I could about player development and scouting, and throughout my career, making every decision in marketing, player contracts, philanthropy. So throughout my career, I tried to learn as much as I could. Look, I still have lots to learn. That's why I surround myself with people that are much smarter. We have a lot of the Marlins front office staff here, so if they could stand, I think they're in the back right for 1 minute. I got a point to doing this. If you guys have not met them yet, they are not doing their job. So they should get around and meet all of you here. So you surround yourself with a great group of people, and you know, you try to be successful. But you know, we will be successful as an organization. There's no doubt about that. We will build a first-class organization. It starts with the people that you have.
So just to let the audience know, this is your opportunity to ask Derek Jeter a question. There's a microphone on a little white tablecloth in the middle of the aisle here. So cue on up. Come on up and ask a question. Sir, are you going to ask a question, or are you coming up for a selfie? Okay. Go ahead.